Before we officially get started with the press conference, I want to let you all know one thing. This is a beautiful crowd today that is out to support public schools. Give yourselves a round of applause. Also, before we officially begin, I want to recognize and call up some individuals. The effort that you are about to see today in all different aspects is not something that could be done alone. A lot of times, a lot of us are in different parts of the state, and you feel a sense of hopelessness and helplessness. But in this space today, doing what we're about to do now, we are representing one of the most unique elements of North Carolina that we can imagine. That's the investment in public education. And to see everybody from the various parts of the state, from your various walks of life, you all look good today. And I want to thank Suzanne Miller for allowing every child to be in partnership. Let's give Suzanne a round of applause. Pastors for North Carolina Children, and the work that you all are about to do in this prayer visual is also a part of democracy. And I don't care what anybody tries to say or how they try to separate it. We did not get here unless somebody prayed. And it's going to take prayer to continue to shift the winds in the political aspects of North Carolina. I want to also recognize the individuals that help staff Every Child in C, the members of the Justice Center team that are in the building. I see Sarah, I see Matt, I see Chris. Thank you so much. So what has changed since 1994? In a sense, we are in a time capsule today, right? We're opening up a time capsule that has been opened up 3 or 4 different times in our history since it was written in the Constitution that North Carolina should fully fund and invest in a sound basic education for every child in North Carolina. In 1994, the cost of a movie ticket was $4.08. In 1994, the cost of gasoline, 1 gallon, was $1.09. The average monthly rent, if anybody knows, $533. A dozen eggs cost 86 cents in 1994. And if you were a young chap like I was, a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers costume cost $17.99. Now, I researched that, Pastor Barnes. Today, that same costume costs $40. So that's a double investment. Just in a Halloween costume, a one-time activity. The average cost of college in 1994, 1 year, at a private institution, $7,931. Today, that current cost is $38,000 per year. In that time frame, North Carolina has underfunded public education over the tune of $10 billion if you count the overall investment. And all that the research, the investment after the Supreme Court ruling originally in 94 asked for is $6 billion. But here we are this morning just trying to squeeze the bare minimum out of the state, $785 million. It is a shame that we have to beg our system of government, not even our system of government, the North Carolina General Assembly, because government in this case in North Carolina has worked. When I was a young child in school, we learned in civics that there is a balance of power to make sure one branch of government doesn't usurp or overtake or undermine another branch of government. So what we're seeing today, Attorney Thompson, is a class in Civics 101. It is not a situation where North Carolina residents are asking for a handout. It is where we understand the underinvestment in public education has undermined the potential for growth for residents across North Carolina. And regardless if we lived in one of the original Leandro counties or not, all of North Carolina is undermined when we underfund and undercut public education. But you know what, President Kelly, and it's good to see you and the leadership you provide in NCAE across the state and making sure that public schools on every level in the profession and the professionals are respected. It is a shame that we have had to compel the General Assembly on 3 different occasions, regardless of who was in control of the General Assembly, to just do the right thing. In a few minutes, we will witness a historical governmental process being raised in North Carolina. We know the value of a fair and balanced government. And the individuals that you're going to hear from this morning are going to set some context for what's happening in this room right across the street. Because this trifecta of the judicial, the executive, and at the far end, the legislative branch, these three things work in tandem. And when one branch of government is way out of lines in following a constitutional mandate, not just a bunch of advocates saying we want money for public schools, but a constitutional mandate has being violated over 30 years by one governing body. It takes this body, as I've learned in my civics class, to check and balance the state of North Carolina. And guess what? The ultimate check and balance belongs with who? Us. And that happens when? When we vote. So I want us to know one thing. We are hopeful that our government will do the right thing. But if their ability to govern fairly is in any way undermined today, we have one more opportunity, and one more opportunity after that, and one more opportunity after that, every single election, to make sure they understand the priorities of North Carolina.